Camera looks farther away than usual, doesn't it? I feel like it looks like I'm small. I don't know. We'll run with it. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hate Live, my weekly, or at least what I try to do weekly, it doesn't always work out that way, podcast, where we talk about all kinds of stuff, including what I've been up to, all the things that are going on in my life, gaming news, my Back in the Day segment, which today is a very special Back in the Day that we'll be doing. So I thank you very much for being here tonight for that. And we are going to try to, everything in my power, I'm going to do to try to take live callers over Skype tonight. Lots of people were disappointed that last week I did not get to do Skype calls because I went long and I had started late. So I apologize for that. I will do my damnedest to do Skype calls tonight. I do want to let you guys know that the air conditioner is on. It's been going on all day. There's high potential you'll hear that picked up on the microphone, okay? So if you hear that ambient noise going, that's what it is. It's the air conditioner. So today's Thursday, June 5th, 2014, and this year has just flown by for me, primarily because I think when it comes down to it, I've been working a lot this year to get a move going to somewhere outside of Connecticut, and it was the whole process of house hunting and all that that led to me now moving to Washington. And the good news that I have for everyone, which we're going to discuss in detail on tonight's Hate Live podcast, is I have a date that I am moving. I have a date the movers are coming. I have a date my girlfriend's arriving. I have a date that we're flying to Washington State, and a date that we're actually moving into the home. I have a date that the internet's getting installed. I have a date, lots of dates for you. So for those of you who are following along, gee, when is Phil not going to be doing content? What will he be doing? This and that. When's he moving? It's all coming in this episode. This episode will be a cumulative, informative episode on what to expect with the move. Okay? So, thank you very much for being here tonight. I do want to say this. If you're watching this live on Twitch TV, I've been having lots of problems streaming. And what I mean by that is frame drops and stream crashes over the past several weeks. Now, being that I've got 1 foot literally out the door already, there it is. Can you see the foot? There's the foot. It's out the door on the way to Washington already. I said, there's no reason in these final weeks for me to call up my cable provider, my internet provider, argue with them again, have them working on lines and stuff. What it is, it is at this point. Que sera, sera, right? Whatever will be, will be. This internet was never, for streaming, ever since I started streaming, it's never been consistently working. And that's why I am happy that I am 1 foot on the way out. So, unfortunately, if you have issues tonight with the stream, bear with them. I'll do my best to bring the stream back. If you're watching this on YouTube, I know it doesn't affect you guys at all, but I will bring it up if I have to restart the stream so you guys know what I'm doing, rather than me trying to multitask and you have no idea what I'm doing here, and it's very distracting or anything like that. Okay? Ew, someone says someone has a foot fetish and it's been satisfied. That's gross. You don't want to have a foot fetish with these fucking stinky feet, these barking dogs, man. Alright, so anyway, let's get started in the way that we usually always do. Let's go ahead and talk about what I've been up to recently, so you guys are in the know on what exactly to expect for the next few weeks, because now I finally have a rough, or actually a more concrete idea of what to expect in regards to what games am I playing before I leave, how long do I have before I leave for the West Coast, alright? So, recently, this past 2 weeks has been insane. And when I mean that, I mean, for whatever reason, and I say this all the time, these game developers slash marketing teams slash publishers decide to put out all the games that everyone wants to play at the same effing time. I don't know why. You've had months. We had the entire month of April and more than half of the month of May. Earlier this year, the month of January and most of the month of February, we had no releases. So I was here doing downtime series and trying to keep you occupied with different stuff. And now it's like, okay, months later, now all the new games come out, but they're all out at once. And to that effect, I do want to apologize for those of you who really like my Watch Dogs playthrough, but notice that I haven't beaten it yet. I mean, the game's been out for a week and a half and I haven't beaten it yet. That's usually not what happens with me when it comes to games like that. However, Watch Dogs is such a long game, a game that has a ton of content that I'm having fun doing, and a good story that's long as well, that I'm now up to, as of today, I've recorded over 100 parts of the playthrough, and I'm just over half done with the game. okay? Chances are the playthrough will come in just under 200 parts, especially if I try to decide to go into side content. I don't know. I'm not 100% on that, but I'm just saying, I'm estimating it's probably going to be 2 to 3 more streams before I beat the game, which is probably going to be around another 60 parts. So you're talking 160 parts already. That's the deal. And I know that some people are upset because they said, Phil, Watch Dogs is great, you know, got great views on YouTube, by the way, so thank you very much for that, everybody. And the streams are still doing decently. For a game that I've been playing a week and a half, for me to still be getting 600-700 people on the stream, that's actually high stream retention. Usually I don't get that. Usually if you play a game on length like that, you don't get that many people coming back, especially those who haven't been caught up, you know what I mean? So, thank you for that. And by no means am I not playing Watch Dogs anymore. It's just that there's been a ton of other stuff, including the latest episode of The Wolf Among Us came out last week. Then on top of that, we had Among the Sleep that came out. Then this week, my goodness, Murdered Soul Suspect and Ultra Street Fighter 4 both came out, which, you know, again, boom, you know, 2 big releases like that, and I definitely wanted to try both of them out. Ultra Street Fighter 4 is turning out to be very popular, at least on stream. On YouTube, it's okay. It's not doing great or anything, but on stream, my streams are blown up. I had almost 2,000 people on the stream yesterday watching me play Ultra Street Fighter 4, so I'm very appreciative of that. And so I'm juggling things. I'm trying to make sure that I don't not play something for such an extended period of time that people stop caring. But at the same time, I understand that some of you may be upset that there's not new videos and new streaming of the game that maybe in particular you want to see every single day. And that's how it's going to be in the near future. Right now, tomorrow, I've got Ultra Street Fighter 4 that I'm doing on my first stream, and it's going to be me trying out all the different characters of the game, not just the newer characters like I did yesterday, including all the ones that I used to play with online. I'm going to see what's changed, who's been improved, who's been nerfed, etc., etc. That's tomorrow's stream, okay? And it is all multiplayer gameplay, by the way. I will be playing online all day. Then second stream tomorrow is more Murdered Soul Suspect. Saturday, I got a big announcement. This is only the second time I'm mentioning it. I mentioned it on my pre-stream earlier, but not a lot of people have watched my pre-stream yet. Big announcement this Saturday. It is the final in-person co-op with John Rambo. He will be here on June 14th, but that's the special Street Fighter event that we're holding. But this is the last time we're doing in-person co-op. So this is it. This is the final time. If you enjoy co-op with John Rambo, you're going to want to be here for the stream or watch the videos on YouTube. You don't want to miss it. Now, what is the event that we're doing? We're going to do WWE simulations, and before you groan, because you might say, I'm not a fan of wrestling, I don't like those, we're not doing any real simulation matches, meaning we're not simulating a pay-per-view, we're not doing, oh, this is the real match that happened 2 weeks ago. No, we're going to be doing fantasy matches, which means that even though, yes, some of them might have real wrestlers in them, they're completely out of the realm of fiction. And in the past, we've had people like Ronald McDonald, the Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, Pikachu, just to name a few, some of the zanier characters we've had in these simulations before. In fact, I'm going to spend some time in the next day or two going online seeing what I can find for WWE 2K14 to get characters in anticipation for this crazy co-op that we're going to be doing this Saturday. Now here's the thing. I want this to be all out, and I want it to be the best Sims that I've ever done. I don't know if it'll live up to that. I'll tell you that right now. But we're going to do our damnedest to see that we can make it be the best Sims. The problem with that is that it takes a lot of time to do the setup for WWE Sims. In fact, just loading the music into the Xbox takes a ton of time because we got to download the music, put it on a music CD that we have to specially burn here, put that CD, then rip the music from the CD to the Xbox, then go into the game and manually assign each song to the person that we want it to play for. So in that regard, unfortunately, it's going to be a lot of work for any new characters and stuff that we import into this. I'm almost thinking that we may forego doing Smart Guys. I know a lot of people might say, oh, no Smart Guys, and this was supposed to be the last one we were ever going to do in person. I think this may be a case where it just makes sense not to do Smart Guys for a while. Because if we take all our time and we put it into these Sims, I think the Sims overall are going to be much better, rather than trying to rush to put it together because we had to do 2-3 hours working to do Smart Guys, okay? So we're going to see. I'm not 100% saying that, but I think it may actually behoove us to not do Smart Guys, okay? Now you may say, uh-oh, if there's no Smart Guys, then when is it coming back? Well, the week after is the special Street Fighter event, so no Smart Guys there. The week after, I'm going to be amidst the move, which I'm about to explain to you in this podcast. So really, the next, the next Smart Guys you're going to see will be in several weeks when I'm set up and good to go in my new place, and we're doing it over the internet, so it'll be over Skype, John and I doing Smart Guys, okay? And, you know, I know some people might be a little disappointed. I understand last week I said we were going to do it, but I think this makes more sense overall. Now, the other cool thing about Saturday, during the course of this week, I got some news from a few people that they may be coming by. They may not be here the whole day, but they may be coming by to join us with the WWE Sim commentary. People that I'm speaking of are, first of all, our friend Joe, who has been in many of my playthroughs before, including, there was a Ghostbusters one. I believe he was in the Expendables. He played the Olympic Games from 2012 and the Winter Olympics just recently. He's been in a lot of stuff, like in some of the bigger playthroughs that I've done that people really enjoyed as well. And he wanted to come by for one. He wanted to really come by for the Street Fighter event because he's a huge Street Fighter player, but he couldn't. He's in the midst of a move, but he's only moving within Connecticut, so he's going to be busy that day. So he says, I got to come by. I'm going to definitely come by on Saturday. Now, I don't want to say 100% he's coming because who knows? There could be circumstances. At the least, it's me and John, right? But Joe might be here. And, ladies and gentlemen, the final appearance, possibly, of Howard. Howard has said he is going to try to be here this Saturday to join in the co-op commentary as well, okay? And he may be trying to make it for the Street Fighter event, but he says he's going to be busy most of that day. He may be able to come real late. And I said, let him know, okay, if you can come, you can come. If not, I understand. So that's what's going to happen this Saturday. Me and John, the possibility of Joe, and the possibility of Howard all showing up. Just like last week, we had my friend Drew coming by. These people who are coming by and basically say, you know, their last goodbyes and say, hey, you know, we really enjoyed being a part of your videos and being my friend. And, you know, kind of, you know, the way of a send-off. And I appreciate that these guys are coming by. It's definitely going to make the streaming special this Saturday. Okay, so don't miss it. If you can all help it, don't miss it live. If you miss it live, that's fine. But check out the videos on YouTube. They're going to be really good. Okay? All right. Then this coming Sunday and Monday is going to basically be catching up. Okay, so did I finish Murdered Soul Suspect? No, I'll probably play that on one of the streams. Watch Dogs, I know I wouldn't have beaten by then, so that's going to be one of the streams, okay? So, in that regard, you know, that's how it's going to happen. And then it'll continue into next week. There is E3 week where I'll be covering all of E3 every day. Like I did last year, I'll be doing one or multiple videos talking about different topics and things that happened to E3. And I probably will be live streaming that video as well as recording it and then uploading it to DSP Gaming so you can watch it in any manner that you like. That way you don't have to sit there on the fucking websites and watch 5,000 videos and read all the E3 news. I'm going to summarize it for you guys and give you my opinions on it, okay? Also that week there's a new game called Enemy Front. And also, like I said, I'll still be playing Watch Dogs. I'll probably still be doing a session or two of Ultra Street Fighter 4. There's still a ton of content coming for you guys in the coming weeks, regardless of the fact that I'm packing up and starting to get out of here very soon, okay? So that's what you can inspect. That's what you can expect. Some people are asking about Drakengard. Phil, are you going to play Drakengard again, or is that pretty much done? And that answer, quite frankly, is I know people want to see other stuff like Watch Dogs first. So if I beat Watch Dogs, right, and then I get to Drakengard, then I beat Watch Dogs and I get to Drakengard, but I'm not going to say, yes, I'm doing Drakengard and then forego other stuff that I'm already in and people will definitely want to see more, because that would be a stupid move, you know what I mean? Well, everyone, I'm getting lag. As I mentioned, I said I would probably get frame drops. I'm getting frame drops right now. I'm going to let it go right now and see if it settles. If it doesn't settle within the next couple of minutes, we'll restart the stream. Again, YouTubers, I know this doesn't affect you guys at all, but it's an inevitability that when this affects one thing, it affects the other because I have to mention it and I have to do adjustments and stuff, okay? So yeah, everyone's getting frame drops. It's not you. It's probably my internet, and I'm hoping that it's going to stop, but right now it's not showing any signs of stopping, which sucks. All right, so now I want to get you guys all cumulatively caught up on my move because I have the big announcement, the big news. For this episode of Hate Live is the dates. I know exactly when I'm moving. I know when I'm traveling. I know when things are moving out. When my girlfriend arrives. I know all of that information. I want to share that with you right now so that you know exactly what to expect during the course of this move and during the course of this whole process, okay? Damn it, it's still dropping frames. Unbelievable. I'm thinking I may try to restart the stream to get this lag to stop, because it seems to work when I do that. I do apologize for that, guys. Come on, you stupid stream. No, it's still dropping tons of frames. Yeah, alright, I'm gonna restart the stream, everyone, because it looks like it is not stabilizing. It is continuously dropping frames. And we'll see if that could fix it. It's fixed it a few times this week when I've done it, okay? Alright, so give me a second to restart, and let's see if this fixes it. If you're on YouTube, you can go take a shit. I don't know. Alright, so I've stopped the stream. This is exclusive, non-streamed content for you guys. You get to see me take a sip. Ah, refreshing. Okay. Alright, I'm going to try to restart the stream in a moment. Usually if I wait about 30 to 60 seconds, it seems to get rid of whatever the issue has been going on with Twitch. I don't know what it is. If it's my internet, or if Twitch has, like, connections that aren't as stable as they used to. Because it's so odd how it happens. Alright. Here we go. Alright, now it's reading the servers. It's pinging it. It says the New York server is fine, which that's why I don't understand why there was lag, because it never comes up as having any issues. Restarting the stream. There we go. And the stream is broadcasting. And as long as, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. No, it's still dropping frames. Unbelievable. It still seems to be dropping frames on me. Yep. Well, we're just going to move ahead with however it is. I don't know what else to say. Obviously, if people are trying to watch this on stream and it's not working out, you can always watch it on YouTube. I don't know why it's just dropping like crazy right now. Fucking stupid internet here. This is one of the main reasons why I'm leaving. I'm going to be honest with you. After this past year, trying to live stream and experiencing the fact that half the time that I try to live stream, I can't do it and it's choppy and it looks like shit, I'm so frustrated by it that I got to get the fuck out of here. And the practice, I'm a prisoner of this internet company. I cannot switch to another one where I'm living here in Connecticut because they don't allow any others here in this condo facility. Over where I'm moving in Washington, you could do whatever the fuck you want. So I'm actually going to have 2 internet lines installed in my new home. I'm about to talk about that in a moment. So here we go. Let's go ahead and just talk about it, okay? So, my move to Washington is coming very shortly. In fact, it's less than 3 weeks from today, which I know is kind of a surreal thing. Wow, well, less than 3 weeks, Phil will be gone. He won't be in Connecticut anymore. He'll be in a brand new location getting set up and stuff. Yeah. The way that it's going to work is this. So originally I wanted to move that weekend or early that week of that Street Fighter event, the final CT Throwdown that I'm doing on June 14th. I wanted to move like right after that. It didn't come together that way, and it's fine because the bottom line is there's content that I can put out for you guys during that period of time anyway that'll entertain you. So it's not like any skin off my back or, you know, oh no, I'm out of work for 2-3 weeks and there's nothing to do. There's stuff to do. There's new games coming out. So just to give everyone the idea, I will still be here that week, and I will be playing UFC, the new UFC game, on release day. And I'll be doing basically a 2-day-long playthrough of it. Because then, that Thursday, which I believe is Thursday, June 19th, my girlfriend and her mother will be traveling to Connecticut with a U-Haul that they're going to rent with all of my girlfriend's stuff packed into it, okay? So that day of the 19th, I may or may not stream and do content depending on what time they're going to show up. So if they're not showing up until a little bit on the later side, the chances is I could do a first stream, maybe a shorter one, but I could do a first stream of that day before they show up, and I'll have that content to upload over the next couple of days, okay? So, hold on a second, because I'm trying to... It's still dropping frames like crazy. It's awful, by the way. So, that's the 19th. When my girlfriend and her mother arrive, that's it. No more streaming of gameplay until Washington, alright? So how it's going to work is basically we're going to be unloading all the stuff from the U-Haul, bringing it here into my unit, and And we're going to probably be going out to dinner that night. I'm actually getting her mother a hotel room so that she doesn't have to like sleep on the couch or drive back that night in the middle of the night. And then the next morning, we're probably going to go out to breakfast or an earlier meal. And then I'm taking her mother to the train station, when she's taking the train back to Philadelphia, and then getting a bus from Philadelphia back to where she lives in Pennsylvania. So that's how that's working. It's going to be 2 days of me basically unloading shit and getting her mom wherever she needs to go to get back home. Okay? Then, that weekend, the movers are coming. But I don't know exactly what day yet. They could either be coming June 21st, which is a Saturday, or June 22nd, which is a Sunday. They don't know the exact date yet. They told me, listen, we're going to tell you early that week what day exactly it's going to be, but we don't want to promise you the world now, and the next thing you know, we can't do it then. That's how we operate our business. And I actually looked these guys up. They're really highly rated by the Better Business Bureau. They have an A+ rating with, I believe, like 100 people or something that have weighed in with reviews and stuff. So, pretty good. I mean, you know, they're pretty reputable in that regard. Even though it's going to cost me about $6,000 to move across the country, I think it's going to be a pleasant move in regards to, I don't have to worry about my stuff getting lost. I don't have to worry about them breaking shit. I think they're going to be pretty good at what they do. So, they're coming either Saturday or Sunday. If they come on Saturday, well, we're kind of stuck, because here's why. There's some final things we need to take care of in Connecticut before we can leave, including 2 things. Number 1, I have to trade in my cable boxes and my cable modem, but I don't want to do that until I'm about to leave, because I obviously want to watch TV. I want to be able to use the internet here before we leave. I don't want to trade that in early, and now I have no internet and no TV for days on end, okay? That's like basically the next to last thing I want to do before I leave. And the other thing I have to do before I leave is trade in my car, because my car is on a lease, and the lease doesn't expire till October, so I'm trading it in early. So I have those 2 things I need to do. The problem is, both the store, they call it the Cablevision store, it's the store of my internet provider, cable provider, and the car dealership are both closed on Sunday. So obviously, if they come on Saturday, we can't just leave on Sunday, because guess what? I need to trade all that shit in before I leave. So we actually booked our flight for Monday, June 23rd. And the way we're going to do it is this. It's 2 different scenarios. If the movers come on Saturday, all right, we'll spend the night here. We'll still have the internet and everything. We just won't have a TV. We'll spend the night here. And then on Sunday, we'll probably do final packing and cleaning. And then we may actually Sunday night go get a El Cheapo hotel room somewhere, so we at least have a bed to sleep on, right? So we at least have things for a good night's sleep before our day of flying. Because the last thing we want to do is have a bad night's sleep, be all fucked up, and then we're jumping on a plane all day, okay? Now, if the movers come on Sunday, great, because we got an extra day where we can clean and pack before they show up on Saturday. And then on Sunday when they come, they take everything, okay? And then we spend one night on like an air mattress or whatever, okay? Then on Monday, we got a crazy day planned for Monday, June 23rd. Just listen to what we got to do. We got to get up in the morning and go get food. We've got to drive to the cable company and drop off the cable boxes and the cable modem, because that's their property, not ours. We've just been renting it. We've got to go to the car dealership and drop off the car. We got to hope that they'll give us a ride to my parents' house. If they won't, I'm going to take a cab from there to my parents' house, where I'm going to give my parents the keys to the house, this place, this condo that I'm leaving, give them the keys and say, here, you know, here's the security. Now you have access to it. You know, if I need to sell the place or rent it, you know, I'll have the realtor contact you when they need to get in, etc., because I trust them. They actually have the only other set of keys for this place anyway. So they're basically going to kind of be the caretakers of the place while I'm gone, until I figure out what the hell I can do with it, whether it's selling it or renting it or whatever. And then, that day, after we do all that shit, we're going to get a ride from my parents' house to the airport. We actually have a 4 p.m. flight from JFK way over to Seattle. Wait till you hear what happens now. So we're going to arrive in Seattle around 7:30 p.m. their time, okay? When we get there, we've got to get our rental car from the airport. There's a rental car that we reserved. We got to drive that rental car from the airport to our new home, which is about 45 minutes away. Once we get there, now let's say by then it's probably going to be 8:30, 9 o'clock, you think, if not later, right? Okay, we need to find out how we're going to get in whether or not my realtor can meet us at that time to give us all the keys and everything, or if she's going to leave that stuff maybe with our new next door neighbors, and we can meet our neighbors for the first time and then come in and see this house, which we've only seen once in person. You know what I mean? We got to get our bearings. But guess what? No rest for the wicked, no time that we can just do that. Guess why? Because we don't have anywhere to sleep on. There's nothing there. The movers aren't going to have the stuff there for 5 to 9 days. So there's no bed, no couch, no TV. There's nothing in this new home. So then we got to leave immediately once we arrive, try to drive out to a store that's open and buy like an air mattress and blankets or whatever we want, pillows, to sleep on the freaking floor until the bed shows up, which could potentially be over a week. So, yeah, we're going to have this nice new home, and for over a week, we're going to be sleeping on the effing floor, which sucks. It really does suck to be spending that much money, all this time and effort, and I get a nice floor sleeping job for over a week. But that's life. That's what happens when you move. You do a cross-country move, you got to kind of, you know, adjust and adapt, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing. So then, the next day, which is the 24th, June 24th, our first full day in this home, I've already scheduled Comcast, and I know, oh, I can hear it already. I just heard the groan over the internet of people saying, oh, God, Comcast, he's getting Comcast. I have to. I looked into all the other internet services that were available in that area, and they're all slow. There's even one that's on fiber optic, but they're slow. It's ridiculous. I looked it up. They're all effing slow. They're all like DSL speeds, except for Comcast. Comcast is a decent speed. So even though people complain Comcast throttles my internet, Comcast has bad customer support, it's the only one I can get in that area, okay? Now, the good news is I called Comcast today, explained the situation to them, told them, listen, I have a home-based business. It's video streaming and uploading all day. And my issue right now is that my internet is very flaky and inconsistent. A lot of the times, as people are seeing right now on stream, I get frame drops. It affects the quality of my product. I don't like that. And what I'd really ideally like to do is have 2 completely separated lines of internet. I would like to get one line that's just for the business and one line that's for personal use, such as, you know, the cell phone connects to it, the iPad connects to it, a laptop that I carry around connects to it, the Nintendo 3DSs connect to it. That way, all the wireless devices will be going off of one internet line, and my business will have a dedicated, speedy internet line. And it's incredibly expensive, but for basically around $300 a month, I'm going to get a dedicated business internet line that's 100 megabit per second download, 20 megabit per second upload. I'm going to get an additional personal internet line that's 50 megabit per second download, 10 megabit per second upload, and I'm getting a home phone. So it's all 3 for $300 a month. That's locked in for 3 years. So, is it expensive? Absolutely. But it is a business write-off for me. I need that quality of internet in order to do good work with my business, right? By the way, it looks like the internet here has settled. I don't see any more frame drops, so that's good. And the other thing is, since I have the business line, I have a legit gripe. If they start trying to cap my internet, if they try to throttle my internet, I say, no, I'm paying you for unlimited amount. That's what it says in the business line. Unlimited for your business, right? I'm paying the increased amount of money for this unlimited internet line. You better damn give me good quality. Not that you're going to give me shit quality and you're going to throttle me or whatever. I will fucking rip Comcast 5 new fucking assholes in orifices they've never imagined assholes in before if they try to throttle my fucking internet. I will have their heads fucking rolling. You know that dickhead, the head of Comcast, who says, oh, well, if they do the internet fast lane, we'll be the first ones to do it because it's fine. We can make more money. I'm going to crucify that motherfucker because I let them know up front, this is my business. This is what I do. You say unlimited. You better not fucking do it. Now, the good news is I know that there are people who live in the Seattle area who are my fans, and they've contacted me and said, no, Phil, we have Comcast internet, and we don't have that problem. They don't throttle our internet. So maybe in certain areas of the country is where they're doing it. I don't know. Fingers crossed. I mean, here we go. We're going from one shitty internet situation to another shitty potential internet situation. I know, right? The good news is that Seattle is a very progressive place. Currently, they have an actual fiber optic internet infrastructure in the campus district of Seattle where all the colleges are, and they're looking to expand it outwards. So I'm hoping within the next 10 years they actually expand it to the point where it's surrounding areas and it'll hit my area and I'll be able to get this amazing internet where if I'm paying $300, I'm actually getting what I'm paying for, not that Comcast is making a shit ton of money on me and they don't deserve it. But it is what it is. It's a necessary evil, okay? It's a necessary evil. Of what I do. And quite honestly, I think I've gotten away with having only one internet line, okay, that was not dedicated for business, and I don't pay a lot for this either. I just want to let everyone know I probably pay between 60 to 100 bucks for that internet line. I don't remember because it's fluctuating. I think I may be paying 70 something right now. You know what I mean? For that internet, for the speeds that I get, I've been getting ridiculous quality for what I'm paying for. And I think I was one of the lucky ones. It just so happens that I started streaming, and now I find out the internet isn't good for streaming. Well, you know, that's too bad because streaming is the future. You know, everyone wants to see stuff live if they can. So I've got to stay with the trends, and this move is something essential of staying with the trends, okay? So that's happening on the 24th. In addition to that, on the 24th of June, we've got to go out and go shopping and get food, right? We've got to get all kinds of the essentials for the house, like the toiletries and things like that, so we can actually wash our bodies before all the stuff that's shipping across the country shows up. We're going to buy a TV, and the reason we're buying a TV, we're not sure what kind we're going to buy or what size yet, but we need a TV because we're going to have the television people come out that Wednesday, which is the 25th. That's, incidentally, Comcast business internet and television aren't the same company. They're actually separate divisions, so they have to have two completely separate people come out to do it. So they're coming out on Wednesday to install the TV, and I said, well, I guess we need a TV to test to see if it works, right? So we're going to do that. We're going to have a TV that we can make a smaller one that we can walk around and move it around, hook it up to the television in different rooms, because we're going to have 3 different rooms that we want television in: the bedroom, my office, and the living room, because I figured there's going to be things that Leanna wants to watch that I don't. There's going to be things that I want to watch that she doesn't, probably wrestling most of the time. And there's going to be things that we want to both watch. So why not have the setup so we can go to different rooms and watch it? If I'm watching wrestling and, you know, I'm watching it for 2-3 hours because it's a fucking marathon of wrestling, I could be in my office doing that, and that way it doesn't disturb her and she doesn't disturb me. So, that's going on Wednesday, okay? In addition to all that, we got to look for a car, which we're already debating. We need to get a cheap car. We cannot afford any kind of an expensive car like I've had. No way. It's got to be a cheap car, but a good one. We've got to do furniture. The house has no furniture in it at all right now. So, the good news is that my parents, as a moving-in gift, a housewarming gift, are buying me a bed set of a dresser and a bureau that are going to go in the master bedroom. But I still need essentials. I have a bar with nothing to sit. I need chairs or bar stools, a dining set for the dining room. Essential is something for the living room to sit on. Right now there's nothing there at all. And a TV stand for the living room to put a new television on top of. Actually, what I'm thinking of doing is taking my existing 50-something inch TV and put that in the living room and get a smaller one for my office. And I'll probably use the same stand that I use now for all my gaming systems to do the same thing as I do now in my office and have the smaller TV on top. And then in the living room, I'll buy a bigger, nicer stand, you know, to show off to people to put in there. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. And there's other stuff, too. There's tons of stuff we're going to have to do and buy. Just in the first couple of weeks, we got to get new health insurance because my health insurance is no good in another state. And obviously schedule. I'm probably going to schedule immediately doctor appointments because I haven't had a checkup since I have not had a doctor's checkup since my back issue was diagnosed. That was 2007 or 8. So it's been a long-ass time, and who knows what kind of health problems have crept up with me since then. I need to get a thorough examination. I'm probably going to end up getting multiple levels of tests. I can guarantee you guys this, because I guarantee you if there's a ton of stuff wrong with me that I just don't know because I didn't bother going to the doctor. Okay? So we got to do that. What else? Leanna wants to learn how to drive. In fact, it's going to be very essential that she learns how to drive because I'm going to be working. I'm not going to be able to drop everything if she needs to go to the store, if she gets a part-time job, which she's going to look to do when she gets out there, if not a full-time job. And I can't be chauffeuring her around all the time, so we're going to try to get her into driving school. But by the way, I'm going to have to drive her to driving school. So there's a ton of stuff that those first few weeks we're going to be so brain rattled. And then all of a sudden, our stuff's going to show up out of nowhere. And we don't know when it's going to. It could be 5 days to 9 days. So the first several days, we're going to be buying, getting things delivered, setting up the house, trying to get stuff. The good news for you guys is that we are going to be vlogging the whole thing. I have my camcorder, she has her camera, and we're going to be trying to record the house, record the things that we pick out for the house as they get delivered. We're going to do daily videos, and we're even thinking of possibly doing a daily live stream using my laptop and XSplit and this webcam that I use right now for my podcast. So instead of doing daily gameplay, because I won't have the consoles, I won't have a TV, I won't have any of that hardware to do it, I can at least give you live daily updates. Gee, what did we do today? What do we think about the area? What do we think about this? What are we working on today? And you can see us daily on live stream, and we'll obviously record that and put that on YouTube as well. But we'll be vlogging the things we do during the course of the day as well. So you're going to get to see all of this, okay? We got some kind of an idiot in the stream chat. I literally just opened my eye to the left, saw a troll in the stream chat, and I banned his fucking dumbass. Okay. So, that is right now in my head what's going on with the new home. As more stuff happens and more stuff gets planned out, I'll be sure to let you guys know. But that's the rough time frame we're looking at. June 19th, the final day of streaming. It's going to be a stream that ends early or is just first stream that day because I'm waiting for my girlfriend and her mom to arrive. I will, as we're moving out, vlog as well, because a lot of people said, well, I wanted to see a final condo tour, right? We'll do one when everything's moved out. How about that? So that way you guys can see the final layout before we leave, what it looks like, okay? And, you know, the condo served me well in the time that I stayed here. For 5 years, it's been a great bachelor pad. And the fact that I was isolated from not living with other people, I was able to film and do whatever I wanted to do, yell at the top of my effing lungs, have a drink, being isolated with the blinds, and again, you know, for filming. Remember before I did direct capture, I was always using a camera, having the correct lighting conditions for that. This place made it all possible. And it was fun while it lasted, but it's time to move on. For 2 years now, I've been bigger than this place. You know what I mean? Just physically with the amount of stuff that I've got, but also I have all these ambitions and things that I want to do. New series. I want to experience another part of the country. I want to get out of expensive ass Connecticut, and this is it. We're finally effing doing it. Okay. Whew. And I want to say thank you to all of you for being patient during this whole process. I know it's been tedious. I know that some days I show up very late for my streams. Sometimes I go on break for my stream. It's supposed to be 5 minutes. It ends up being 15 or 20 because I'm on the phone with my realtor. Oh, I do blah, 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 about this and that and this bullshit. Give it another few weeks to a month, and hopefully by a month's time we'll have been settled in. Everything will be working. I'll be working regularly. We'll have a schedule, and we'll be able to go from there. Okay? What else? Well, that is all I really have to say about the move at this point. As I said, I have more information I'll tell you. But we've got 3 gaming news stories this week that I'd actually like to address. Some great and some not so great. Okay? The first gaming news story that came out, unfortunately, is the not so great one. It's been officially announced now that Batman Arkham Knight, the exclusive next-gen game, it's only going to be on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. They're foregoing the Xbox 360 and the PS3 completely. Has been delayed. It's no longer coming out in the fall. It'll be coming out sometime in 2015, undisclosed time. Now, this coming after several weeks to a month back when at some convention, the game makers of Batman Arkham Knight literally said in a panel that it wasn't coming out till 2015, and everyone at the panel was like, why did they say that? They announced like 2 weeks ago that the game's coming out in the fall. Why did the panel say it was coming out in 2015? Come to find out, it was true. They leaked it by accident. It was going to get delayed and no one even knew, but now it is official. Batman Arkham Knight not coming out till 2015, okay? You know what, though? Better for them to make a really amazing game. Rocksteady does fucking amazing. The last 2 Batman games have been outstanding. Give them the extra time they need to do an outstanding game, rather than have a game like Batman fucking Arkham Origins from last year that was a fucking stinker, okay? Okay, the second big gaming news for this week, Dark Souls 2. For those of you who played it, who love it, I love Dark Souls. I'd love to just sit here and torture myself with the most incredibly complex gameplay possible, the most cryptic of mysteries, the secret ways to kill every boss once you know the way to do it, and I love to die 5 million times, and I love the gratification that at the end of the game. I'm there with you now. At one point I wasn't. At one point I thought that it was, you know, being difficult for the sake of being difficult, okay, wasn't fun. But since I played Dark Souls 2 and Demon Souls last year, got the hang of those games, when I played Dark Souls 2, it was night and day from my original playthrough of Dark Souls 1. I enjoyed the game immensely, with the exception of a few very small parts. I'm sure if those of you who watch the playthrough know what I'm talking about. So, big announcement. We're all expecting, okay, there's going to be a great DLC coming for Dark Souls 2, right? Because they did a great one for Dark Souls 1. It's a no-brainer. There's 3 DLCs coming out for Dark Souls 2. Not 1, 3 DLCs, to which everyone was like, whoa, that is sweet. So the good news is Dark Souls 2 must have sold a shitload of copies, right? In order for them to be doing 3 DLCs. There's going to be 1 a month starting in late July. So 1 in late July, 1 in late August, and 1 in late September. And I'll be playing all 3 of them. The way I see it, Dark Souls 2 is one of my favorite games of the year so far. Had a ton of fun doing it. I will love jumping into those DLCs as well. So I'm doing all 3 of them. I believe there's actually going to be a combo pack, a season pass, where you can get all 3 of them for discounted rate instead of having to buy them all separately, okay? So we have that news. Of course, by the way, there is the news of Project Beast, which everyone is expecting to be announced officially at E3, which is the next Dark Souls game, which is being made exclusively for next gen, and people have seen leaked, you know, there's some leaked pictures and GIFs of it on the internet, and it looks great from what people are saying. Listen, that game's probably several years off. It's good to know they're making it, but wait for the people to announce it when they're ready. Wait for E3. You don't have to hear about it now. You know what I mean? Like, it's great to know it's in the works, but I don't need to know every detail about it, especially when it's an early build. Okay, and then finally, the last gaming news story of this week. This one just came out today, I believe. The Witcher 3 has a release date. Don't quote me on this. I think it's February 5th, 2015. I could be wrong. I know it's February. I just don't know the exact date. And they've shown off, you know, footage of it, saying that there's a trailer available right now if you want to watch it. And they said that actually everything in there except for like the last couple seconds is actual in-game footage. And people watching it are like, are you serious? The whole thing looks like a fucking full motion video and that's in-game? And the game makers have said, yeah, it is. That's in-game footage you're seeing during this trailer. So people are fucking blown away, and they're really hoping that the game holds up to those standards when it's released, unlike a lot of recent games, which I hate to say it, when they ran these demos and stuff at E3 and got everyone hyped. It was these over-produced, over-graphic-sized versions of the game, and then the game ended up getting scaled back when it actually was released, and people were massively disappointed. So hopefully that's not what happens with The Witcher, but hey, Witcher 2 I played. For the first couple hours of Witcher 2 was a fucking nightmare. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to play. I was doing terrible, and then as soon as I learned how to play the game, I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. But of course, all anyone wants to focus on is the fact that I couldn't figure it out at the beginning, instead of, oh wow, he did learn it, and then he ended up beating the game, right? But that is what it is. I liked the game. I'm very much looking forward to Witcher 3, and I cannot wait to play it next year, and that is great news. Okay, and then, of course, the final piece of gaming news. I know I said I have 3. I forgot I have 4. I miscounted. Mortal Kombat 10 has been announced, and there was a big trailer that went out on the internet, and it was, of all things, Scorpion fighting Sub-Zero again. To which I say, why couldn't there have been any other characters? What the fuck? Why does it always have to be Scorpion and Sub-Zero that are fighting? And I think it's because Ed Boon gets a big fucking raging boner whenever he sees Scorpion or something. I don't know. Oh my god, the guy's a flaming skull. Oh, there it is again. Oh, nice foot long. I don't know why they keep doing that, but it is what it is. It looks like, if the trailer is anything to do with actual gameplay, it looks like they're bringing back the weapons that debuted in Mortal Kombat 4 and then showed up in many later installments of Mortal Kombat. Whether or not it's going to follow along that new story from Mortal Kombat 9 and continue on that canon plotline or not, we don't know. But just to know it's coming is great. We wanted confirmation. MK9 was an amazing fighting game. Cannot wait for MK10. Okay? Alright, so that's gaming news for this week, everyone. Now I'm going to take a short break. I'm going to come back, and we're going to have Back in the Day. I'm going to talk all about Evolution 2005, the gaming tournament that I'm most known for because I actually was the highest ranking American in Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo that year, breaking the top 5. And, you know, I have lots of insight to give into this. I've never talked about this publicly, really. Only a few times here and there when people ask me stuff specifically. But I've never dedicated time to tell you guys the full situation of what was going on with me at that time. And this is going to be a blast. And there's stuff I'm about to tell you that I've never told anyone. That's actually like news that you won't believe. And some people might be a little salty about it afterwards. Let's put it that way. But, all right. Time for a break. If you're watching this on Twitch TV, please just stick around. I'll be back in a few minutes. If you're watching this on YouTube, no need to sit there and wait during the commercial break. I've got a timestamp in the video. Click on it and jump right to the next part for the EVO 2K5 tell-all of back in the day. Okay? Thanks, everyone. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Welcome to segment 2 of Hate Live, which is the Back in the Day segment. And tonight we've got a very, very special episode of Back in the Day, because for the very first time I'm opening up and being honest about Evolution 2005. This is an event that for many people they thought was highly controversial. I'll explain why. And it's a very unique situation, a unique time in my life for what was going on. The years of 2005 through 2007 were the years where I was incredibly into and dedicated to Street Fighter. I was playing it all the effing time. My free time was all Street Fighter. My travel was all Street Fighter. All my money for my, went into this hobby that was Street Fighter. And in the year of 2005, to give you guys some perspective, I had been traveling around and playing in certain tournaments regionally in around the East Coast, and in particular I had been trying to play Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. That's the game that started it all and really made Street Fighter a competitive force on the map. Up to Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, there were different versions of Street Fighter 2 that had been released, but never had anyone really said, wow, this game feels balanced. This game really feels like this is a tournament level game. And finally that game it introduced so many things like supers. For the very first time, you could have a super move that you get by fighting and getting hit, and also doing combos and stuff. You tech hit throws, where when you get thrown, you can reduce the damage or escape the throw. All those were concepts, all introduced by that game. And so that game kind of became the quintessential top of the heap when it came to competitive fighting games. Now, this is a funny story. I didn't play that game when it was new. When that game was new, my local arcade didn't get it. I was busy playing other games that had come out in the meantime, like Mortal Kombat and Killer Instinct and stuff like that. And it wasn't until much later that my arcade got things like Street Fighter Alpha 1, Alpha 2, Alpha 3, and then I got back into Street Fighter 3, and of course the Versus series, Marvel vs. Capcom, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, etc., etc. So, excuse me. So, I didn't play any console games at all during this era. I missed out on the entire, PS2 era of gaming because I was so busy playing Street Fighter. Now, in particular, I liked Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and I liked Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. I was not as good at Marvel vs. Capcom 2 as I was at Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, but I actually played it more. So at the time, I had been traveling to places like Texas and Philadelphia and stuff like that. I would go all around the country traveling and participating in these tournaments. And incidentally, it was around this time period when I met John Rambo for the first time, and we became friends and later on travel companions going to all those tournaments. But that's not the point of this story. The point of this story is, in the year of 2005, it was a unique and really tumultuous year for me, because I had moved out of my parents' house, got a 3-bedroom apartment that I was sharing with 2 roommates in more northern Connecticut. It is actually still southern Connecticut, but it's the northern part of southern Connecticut, because I wanted to move next to my job. At the time, I was working for a place called Wells Fargo Financial. It was a place that gave out mortgages, credit cards, personal loans. But the catch here, which they didn't disclose to me when I was getting hired, is that it was basically mostly to people with bad credit, and we gave incredibly high interest rates, but the catch was we would give it to people with incredibly bad credit, and what we would do is, let's say, for example, these people really are in dire straits. They can't pay their bills anymore. They've got $20,000 in credit card debt. They have no money to pay, and so all their bills are past due. We would give them loans for up to almost 100% of the value of their house to pay off their credit cards. And of course, we'd charge them an exorbitant amount of money in interest to do it. But for them, they would see it as savings. Hey, at least we can now make the payment monthly and we're not going delinquent and it's not killing our credit. The problem was 2 things. Number one, a lot of these people, they already racked up $20,000 in credit card debt, and then they put that on a mortgage. Guess what? I'm going to go do it again because now all my credit cards are free and clear. So they racked themselves right back to the situation that they were in, only this time they had no equity in their home to solve the problem. Number 2, the housing market crashed, and so even though we may have given them 100% of the value of their home on the loan, guess what? Now their home value is only this. They have a loan for twice the amount of money as what their house is worth. So all this was happening while I worked there. And quite honestly, I had a manager who didn't like me at all. We weren't compatible. He lived one kind of a lifestyle, I lived a different one. Not compatible, and for whatever reason, he just didn't like me. And he decided that he was going to give me the worst possible leads in the office. And I struggled to even close loans because he would give me people with such low credit. I would work to try to get them a loan for 2 months, and then they would get denied in the end because their credit's so low. And I'd be like, what do you want me to do? You give me the worst possible leads in the fucking office. You do it every month to the point where I called in the district manager, the district supervisor, to tell her. But guess what? I found out she trained the guy, so she protected him. So anyway, the bottom line, the reason I'm telling you this, I was quitting. I had to get out of there. It was either going to be fired or I had to quit, okay? So I quit my job. But the thing was, that whole year, I had traveled the country to play Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and I knew that I was moving out of my apartment. I had an apartment, like I said, this 3-bedroom apartment. I knew eventually I'd be moving out, but it was still like 6 months on the lease, and I didn't know where I was going to get the money from to pay the bills. I didn't know anything at that point. I did have a job interview lined up for Best Buy in a few weeks, but basically it was like a couple of weeks before EVO. And I said, I want to go so bad because I've been practicing this, everything I've been doing, waiting for, but it was a huge risk because I didn't have the money to go. So I did one of the dumbest things I've ever done in my life, and please, I beg of you, unless you're on your last legs financially, do not ever do what I'm going to tell you I did to pay for my EVO trip. I took cash advances on all of my credit cards. So we're talking thousands of dollars in cash advances. I ended up paying off the interest alone for that for about 5 years. I'm not kidding. The reason that I had such credit card debt, and I told you just recently that I paid off all my credit card debt a year or two ago, is because that dumb decision to take out like $3,000 with cash advances on my credit cards fucked me up financially for years. So don't fucking do it unless you're destitute. Okay? Now, and by the way, I see a bunch of trolls again, so I just banned another one. Okay. So, on a whim, no job, unemployed, recently, left my job, on bad terms, by the way, because I hated the fucking manager, and I had it out with him and told him he was a fucking asshole, and that he doesn't know how to run a branch, and the only reason he had his job is because basically his district manager is a fucking cocksucker and protected his ass, because I would have had him fucking fired for the shit. I actually found out he was illegally granting loans to certain people, which I'm not even going to get into. I will not get into it here. Okay. So, on a whim, I go out to EVO. Now, the thing is, I didn't go with anyone. I went by myself on my own ticket. I remember the flight sucked. It was a flight. This is the dumbest flight I've ever heard of. Wait till you hear this. So, my flight left from Connecticut, flew from Connecticut to New York, and then from New York to the West Coast. So, the flight from Connecticut to New York was the worst flight I've ever been on. It was a tiny fucking plane. Only me and one other woman were on it. I don't understand how that worked. It was the most crazy-ass turbulence I've ever been in my life. It literally felt like you were on a roller coaster, and a giant head roller coaster in his hands was going like this. That's what the flight fucking felt like, so that was awful. When I finally got out there, I ended up, taking a taxi or whatever to the venue. Now, at the time, EVO was being held in Vegas. It still is held in Vegas, but at that time, they were trying to every year have a different place on the Strip. I don't particularly remember what casino they were at that year, but they were at a casino. I do remember that much. And I didn't have any roommates or anything like that. I did have enough money, luckily, let me think about that now. Did I have my own room? I can't even remember. I don't think I had my own room. I think because I had so little money, I ended up rooming with a bunch of people from Maryland who I knew because they're cool. They're real cool people. They'd come up to the northern area of the East Coast to play in Street Fighter tournaments before. I think I talked to them online and arranged to stick my leg in and get a spot in their room. Isaac Graham was actually one of the people who I hung out with during that EVO. And so yeah, so they were real cool. I kind of hung out with those group of players during that EVO. And I remember being pretty much alone. No one else from my area, the East Coast, no one from Connecticut had gone to EVO. And that could be a daunting thing. When you're going up in a tournament, it's a nationals tournament. And yeah, it's an open thing and anyone can enter. But back then, keep in mind, Street Fighter 4 wasn't out. It was a much smaller event. And it was a lot more daunting because almost everyone there is a killer player. They've been playing forever. There's no opportunity to play multiple levels of people who aren't very good before you get to someone who's good because the tournaments were much smaller. So, well, looks like we got more lag on the stream, everyone. Isn't that great? Anyway, so I go out there by myself pretty much, you know, kind of nervous because I've never been out there to the West Coast by myself before. But I said, I'm just going to do it. To hell with it. Shoot the J. This may be, my final opportunity because I don't even have a job. I don't know if I'm going to find another job. Let me just do this, get it out of the way, and I'll get it out of my system, and maybe I'll never go to EVO again. Who knows? If I have no money, there's no way I can go to EVO ever again. And here's the thing about EVO 2005 that was so controversial. Anyone who played Super Turbo at the time will tell you this. This was a time period when EVO was adjusting to the times. At the time, arcades were going out of business. The pastime of going to your local arcade on a stand-up cabinet and playing with someone in person, those days were going away. What had happened is that recently, games such as Third Strike and Super Turbo had been released on the Xbox, and people were playing them on the Xbox online. And so they were playing that way. Now, it was incredibly laggy, and it was very hard to learn anything, but that was the best you got back there then, okay? And what EVO decided to do is they wanted to, for the first time, they wanted to convert their tournament from an all-arcade cabinet tournament to all consoles. The problem with doing that was that there weren't widely accepted console versions of these arcade games that people felt were arcade perfect. So, for example, with the exception of Marvel vs. Capcom 2, every game had a difference from the arcade version. Capcom vs. SNK 2 ran much faster on consoles than it did on the arcade boards, so you had to actually be faster and have better hand-eye coordination to be better on it on consoles. Third Strike, or Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, had several differences from the arcade version that a lot of people eventually forgot about because everyone just got used to the console versions and played that. But Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo by far had a bad run when it came to console versions. In this particular case, they decided that for EVO 2K5, 2005, they were going to use the PlayStation 1 version from the Street Fighter collection of Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. And what a gaffe that was, because people were like, oh, we can't find that game. The game's like 3 years old. It's hard to get your hands on now. A lot of people, didn't like that version of the game. In fact, I'll tell you that right now, that version of the game is far from arcade perfect. It's got tons of differences. Lots of timing issues, hitboxes that were changed, damage level output that was changed. There's a lot about that game that was changed on the console version, the PS1 version in particular. And so what ended up happening was, there was controversy because all the old school Super Turbo players who traditionally attended EVO, okay, and played on arcade cabinet, said, well, how are we going to do this? We've always played on arcade cabinet. That's the real definitive version, and you're telling us to play an inferior version that is not the same as the arcade. And so some old school players put up a big stink. One of them, I'll tell you right now, was Alex Valle. I don't want to play on console. This is bullshit. Of course, later on, everything became console. It didn't matter anymore what these guys said. They ended up playing on console regardless because it was what they did at EVO. But at the time, it was this big controversial thing. We don't like this, blah, blah, blah. Now, let me tell you guys something. I, in particular, got into Super Turbo after the days when it was a new game. I started playing it around the year 2000 in arcades. It was like, I would play Marvel vs. Capcom 2 as my primary game, but whenever I wasn't playing that, I would head over to Super Turbo and play that for hours. And it was known as the thinking man's game because at its core, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo is not a complex game. There's only like there's only 16 characters in it. Well, I guess you could say there's more than that if you count Akuma. So, alright, there's a limited amount of character selection. A lot of the characters have similarities, right? Very basic system. There's no gimmicks in that game. In that game, the new gimmick was basically super moves, because that was the game that introduced them. And you could probably, in a couple days of playing it, learn a few characters and be able to play it at a decent competitive level, okay? The trick here is in the nuances. They called it the old man's fighter because the people who'd played that game for years and knew these little tricks, these little timing things that they could use to beat even the peer person who's been playing it for a year, and they think that they're really good. That guy would all of a sudden pull something out from his old knowledge that you didn't know, and boom, you lose. And that's kind of the game that it was known as. And I was actually a newcomer to the game, considered a newcomer to the game when I was playing it around this time period. People would say, oh, he may be good, but you know what? He wasn't from back in the day, so he's not an OG. That's what they call them, OG, because they think they're gangsters or something. It stands for original gamer, but they call them OGs like, oh, we're original gangsters. Yeah, okay, because you play Street Fighter in a fucking arcade, you're a gangster. Whatever you say, dude. But yeah, I was considered the new kid on the block, and so for me to get respect was like impossible. You're playing Super Turbo, you want respect. You're a kid, you're young, you know, the people who are playing Super Turbo are all in their 30s, you're only in your 20s, who do you think you are to be playing this game, yada, yada, yada. So, I go out there, and I'm going to very shortly reveal something that's going to piss off a lot of people, but I'm not going to reveal it yet. We're going to get to it. So I go out there, and I immediately notice there's an arcade cabinet for Super Turbo, but I'm like, but that's not arcade Super Turbo. What is it? Well, there's a guy, his name was Cigar Bob. I have no idea if he's still around, but at the time, he was an OG, that's what they called him, an OG, whatever, who back in the day was known for playing Super Turbo, but he actually owned arcade cabinets, he built his own cabinets, and he actually built this custom setup where you could have different joystick types and things installed in this cabinet, and it would hook up to a TV that two people could play on. So you could play PlayStation 1 Super Turbo with your style of controller or joystick, almost like you're at an arcade. Okay? And that's what everyone was playing on during this entire tournament. Of course, they had other setups, and they were very, by the way, back then, unheard of to play on a pad. If you were trying to play Street Fighter on a pad, you were shunned. Wow, what a dick. Look at that guy, he's not doing it right. He needs a joystick. Because that's what it was. Everyone grew up in arcades, so that was the way to play, with a joystick and buttons. You were actually made fun of if you played on a pad back then. And so basically, what everyone ended up doing for 2 days before the actual EVO event happened is practice the fuck out of the PlayStation 1 version of Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo and tried to learn the differences in the game. Now, it's funny to me because I was there, Cigar Bob was there, there were a bunch of people there who I was very friendly with and I was playing, but it was none of the OGs, right? It wasn't the guys who were synonymous, the Mike Watsons, the Alex Valles, the John Choi's. None of them were the people who were really playing. It was other people who were playing and trying to basically learn the differences between PS1 Super Turbo and Arcade Super Turbo. So when we actually played in the tournament, we know what we were doing. Right? Instead of bitching about it, which is what it seemed all the OGs were doing, we'll just play the game and learn the differences so we know for the tournament. So for 2 days, I was intense amounts of practice and training, basically, for PlayStation 1 Super Turbo, and during that period of time, I learned some major differences about the game, including the fact that some characters were different sizes. They weren't as tall or as short as they were supposed to be, and they had different hitboxes. I found out certain characters did different stun amounts than they did in Arcade Super Turbo. I found out that one of my characters, Vega, was incredibly easy to do these complex combos with, which actually was harder to do in the arcade version of the game. So for me, I was like, wow, I might have gotten off a little easy here because my character's actually better. Now, anyone who practiced knew that. The problem was people were, it's Super Turbo, I'll just show up and I'll just play, right? Because they think, oh, I've been playing this since the 90s, I don't need to practice or anything for all these newcomers that are here, fuck them. So, what ended up happening was, finally, after 2 days of practice, this tournament starts. And the way that it worked is that it was like a gauntlet. You started in a pool. You had to win a certain amount of wins in your pool to move on and advance to the bracket. Once you advanced to the bracket, you had to win a certain amount of wins to get to the finals, the top 8 that took place on Sunday. So pools were Friday, the bracket was Saturday, finals were Sunday. So I come in on Friday, you know, ready to go. And I was trying to be very, very laid back, very relaxed, and very calm, not cocky at all or anything like that during this tournament, because I knew I was in foreign territory. I was in enemy territory. I had no friends there. Everyone was a competitor. And I remember playing Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and losing and getting all pissed off, saying, fuck, I love this game and I always fucking lose at it. It pisses me off, right? Got all pissy and moany. And then I played Super Turbo. And in my bracket for Super Turbo were 2 great players. One of them's name was Bob Painter, who is a traditional E-Honda player. He's known, you know, throughout the world as an E-Honda player, really well really well-trained one, and he isn't considered an OG, okay? There was also another person, I really admit, I can't remember who he was. He was known for his Vega, okay? Now, here's the thing that a lot of people don't realize when it comes to fighting games. If you really want to be good at the game, you can't be a one-trick pony. And what I mean by that is a lot of these pro players only get good with one character, and then they end up having mismatches. They end up having situations where they're always at a disadvantage if someone counter picks them or has a character. Your main is basically considered a counter to your character. And a lot of the OGs, unfortunately, are one character player. Bob Painter only plays Honda. He could try playing other characters, but when it comes to tournaments, only plays Honda. The other guy only plays Vega, right? When you really think about it, John Choi, he usually only plays Ryu. Every once in a while, he'll pick Old Sagat, but he usually picks Ryu. Same thing with Valle. Usually picks Ryu. He'll have one or two others, but almost 99% of the time, he's going to play with Ryu. So these guys are character specialists. They're not jack of all trades. Me, let me give you an idea of the cast of characters that I use in Super Turbo. DJ, so projectile zoning character with some offense mixed in there. Balrog, a rushdown style character. Vega, who can be played both as rushdown and a keep away style character. So those are my three mains when it comes to tournaments. Very, very different gameplay depending on what character I pick. So what I found is when I was going into this tournament, I had an advantage because I had a variety of stuff I could alternate through. So I remember playing Bob Painter and I said, he only picks Honda. This is a shoo-in. DJ, guess what? I ran through Bob Painter. Like, I'm not saying I beat him. I mean, like, I destroyed him. Because it's a complete counter match if you know how to play the match correctly. And I do. And I destroyed him. I think he was like, what the fuck just happened? Like, this kid who everyone considers an upstart, you know, a kid who's not an OG, just whooped an OG's ass. And there was like 2 or 3 other people in my bracket who I didn't know, and I beat them pretty convincingly. And then finally I got to the Vega player. And I said, well, you know, I'm not going to pick Vega, so I don't remember if it was Balrog or DJ, but I knew the match, and I beat this guy. So now I made it into the main bracket, and everyone was giving me a pat on the back that day, congratulations, and it was kind of funny because if you got out of your pool, you were called a qualifier, because you qualified for day 2. And it was funny because the people who I was hanging out with, remember I said I was hanging out with kind of the Maryland, Baltimore people, it was like, Isaac Grant qualified for Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Great. You know, I qualified for Super Turbo. Great. Someone else qualified for CVS 2. Great. And this one poor guy who was with us didn't qualify for anything, so we pranked him. That morning when we woke up, we said, well, we're all going to qualifiers breakfast this morning. And he goes, what's that? It says, it's a breakfast that you go to if you qualified for today. You can't go if you didn't, so we'll see you later. And we left the room. Oh my God, it was so funny. We left the room, and we were like halfway down the hall, and then we turned around and came back, and the guy was like sitting on the bed like this, by himself, like sad as hell. We're like, there's no qualifiers breakfast, you idiot. Get down here with us. It was so funny. We pranked the shit out of him. That was really funny. So, day 2 was quite the ordeal, and here's why I say that. First of all, I have to bring this up. Alex Valle did not enter this tournament. Basically, he claimed he was busy and he couldn't show up. Bullshit. He was like, oh, I'm protesting EVO because they're not holding Arcade Super Turbo. I don't want to enter or whatever, right? Yet he was still there, but he didn't enter. He did not enter the tournament. So, just to give you an idea of the gauntlet of killers, and I'm going to name some names now, people who I played and beat that day in the Super Turbo for the PS1, that you might be like, what the fuck? Jason Wilson, Mike Watson. I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure I played John Choi and I beat him too. I apologize because this is a long time ago, almost 10 years ago. I'm almost positive I played Choi and he played Old Sagat and I beat him too. Because he could not do a Tiger Uppercut. Because I'm going to explain to you how funny this situation was. And one other person. I beat like 4 killers. Like OG, highly respected, known back in the day for being tournament winners. I ran through everyone. And at the end of that day, people were coming up to me like, what the fuck, dude? Like, you're on fire. You're like the hottest thing right now. You're the hot commodity. We got to hang out with you. Maybe some of that luck will rub off on us. I was like, all right. Here's the thing, okay? Those guys didn't fucking practice. what those guys did, they sat and they bitched and moaned about, oh, it's not Arcade Super Turbo. I don't want to play PS1 Super Turbo. Wah, wah, wah. Instead of sitting down, which is what I did, sat down with the game for 2 days, played the fuck out of it, and I learned all the differences of the game. And once I knew all the differences of the game, I knew what was going to work in the tournament and what wasn't. These guys, to give you some perspective, because this is pretty funny, right? They needed to play on joystick, okay? But some of them were used to stand up. So, you know, just to give you some perspective, this is, you know, I'm saying, let's say this is the cabinet. So your hands would be like this and your buttons would be like this. And when you push the buttons, you know, nothing happens. If you have a loose joystick that you're playing with like today on your lap and you try to slam the buttons, the thing goes all over the place and you lose your bearings. These guys were used to being able to play in arcades where they could really yank on the fucking thing and do it and it wouldn't move. So their play style actually didn't convert to console gameplay. It just didn't work. And so it was funny because I remember John Choi had this gigantic monstrosity of it was basically a giant wooden box that looked like, you know, 6 buttons and a joystick that was mounted on these like 2x4s that went down into this fucking base of this thing, like a giant piece of plywood that it was drilled into. It was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And he's standing there trying to play, and as he's trying to play with it, the thing is wobbling all around like it's like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. It was going like this all over. So you know, he's trying to play people. Oh, I'm going to do Tiger Uppercut when they jump. He wouldn't get it. And then you get destroyed, a big combo. The thing was hilarious. Like, it was laughable because no one wanted to laugh at him because he's an OG. But the thing was going like this. I'm like, how could he fucking play on that? Like, what is he thinking? So it was quite interesting. So, the bottom line is, by the end of the day, I literally beat like 5 more OG players. The only person I had lost to in the tournament is someone I've never effing beaten Super Turbo. His name's Bucktooth. I don't even know if he fucking plays anymore. I really don't. But I could never beat that motherfucker. He was from Texas. He's an Asian guy. And he usually was known for games such as Third Strike and CVS 2. But he played Super Turbo over the years. He was pretty good. I could never fucking beat this guy. His Chun-Li, I don't know. It always got my goat for whatever reason. So it was funny because I lost to him and got sent to the loser's bracket, but then as I went through the loser's bracket, I literally cleaned out the fucking bracket, beating everyone. So now it's huge controversy because guess what? Finals day. Guess how many OGs were in the finals? 0. They didn't make it. They all got eliminated. They all fucked up in the early stages of the tournament and lost. They didn't make it to the finals. So there was such, oh, how could this be a Super Turbo tournament if the original gamers didn't make it to the finals? Maybe they should have fucking practiced the game. Okay? And so I go to the finals, and my first match is against NKI, who is he's an American, but he lived in Japan for a while, so he's very into Japanese culture, and he plays Chun-Li exclusively. And I've played this guy in tournament before, and he beat me almost every time, right? So we're in tournament, and you can actually watch this. This was recorded. It was on the EVO 2005 DVD. The match I had with him, I played Vega against his Chun-Li, and I ended up beating him. So now I was in the position, boom, if I win like 1 to 2 more matches, I could win the whole event. And then my final match in the tournament was against Tokido, who picked a mirror. We did a mirror match of Vega. And he knew a few things about Vega that I didn't about the mirror match. And just because he knew those few things, he got the jump on me. And I remember distinctly making 1 to 2 major blunders that people were like, why did he do that? I don't know. You know, I was on the stage. I was playing in front of 1,000 or 2 people. And I was, you know, I fucked up, I admit. He beat me. And so what ended up happening, I got 4th place. The top 3 places were all Japanese players. So I ended up basically being the highest ranking American for Super Turbo that year, which was so much, dark side Phil, he placed that high in a tournament. How could this is bullshit. This just proves that console versions will never be accepted. Of course, today, for every game except Super Turbo, we all play console versions because this was where it was going. But those OGs just didn't want to let go, okay? Now, after the tournament, basically, Valle shows up. Oh, that's a joke tournament. Let's have the real tournament now. And we all went to a hotel room. We moved that giant cigar bob cabinet into the hotel room, and we actually hooked up Arcade Super Turbo. And we had, like, the tournament after the tournament after the tournament. Now, keep in mind, it's like the middle of the night. It's like 2, 3 a.m., and they wanted me to be in it. I said, fine, I'll be in it, but I was tired and I lost. And they're like, oh, see, so Phil, got that high in the tournament, but now he lost quick in this one. Obviously, that means that he sucks and it means nothing. No, it means that I was in the fucking tournament room playing games all day and winning, right? While you weren't even fucking here. You show up after the event and now you want to play me competitively when I'm all drained from playing all weekend. It's bullshit. You know, they're, oh, I beat him after. Doesn't like that matters. No. EVO results will forever show I was the best Super Turbo player that year, period. It doesn't matter if you put 4,000 asterisks next to it, if you say that you had oh, my toe hurt that day, or oh, I had the sniffles and I couldn't play, oh, my joystick wouldn't stop spinning like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. I won. And no one can take that shit away from me, okay? Now, the final thing that I'm going to say, and this is going to piss fucking people off. I know it is. Because I lied to everyone and I said, oh yeah, dude, I've been playing Super Turbo like crazy. I've been going nuts playing it, practicing for EVO, and I really put in... The truth of the matter is this, I shit you not. I went to EVO to play Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I didn't go there to play Super Turbo. In fact, I didn't have a local arcade that had Super Turbo. In fact, I didn't own Super Turbo. I had no means to practice Super Turbo. The only time that I ever played Super Turbo was when I went to a tournament to play something else, and they happened to have a Super Turbo cabinet there. Never did I ever actively practice the hell out of Super Turbo up until 2005. And the bottom line is, the first time I ever played the PS1 version of the game was at EVO. I never touched it besides then. So, literally, because I wasn't being a whiny bitch about it being the PS1 version of the game, in 2 days, I learned enough of the PS1 version to basically be the best player at it at EVO, which if these OGs had just bothered to do that, instead of whining and bitching and stamping their feet and complaining about the controls, they might have done better, right? But instead, they wanted to be the whiners and the complainers because they can't get their way, and they left the door wide open for me to step in and take the whole thing, which is what I did. So, how do you like that? 2 days of practice, and I beat every OG in the building just because I was the one who was willing to put in the time and effort and to dedicate myself to learn the version of the game instead of the people who just wanted to whine and complain about it. And that's literally as soon as I got home. Oh, that victory means nothing. It's an empty victory because it's PS1 version. I'm like, I didn't pick the version of the game. EVO did. I practiced the version that was at EVO and I won. Maybe you should have done that too. And since then, oh, that was it. Phil's a dick. Well, how dare he speak to people like that? Whatever. You know what? The bottom line is, no one can ever take that placing away from me, right? And in future years, I ended up winning EVO qualifiers and stuff in other versions of Super Turbo, so you can't just say I was only the best at that one version. In subsequent versions that they played at EVO, I also did very well in. But that was the 1 year where everything kind of came together. It was nuts. And it was funny because when I got back from this trip, I actually ended up getting the job at Best Buy. It ended up paying a decent amount of money. And I was able to at least afford the bills, stay in the apartment, the 3-bedroom apartment that I was in at the time, and basically support myself for years to come. I could never pay down the credit cards until I did this YouTube thing. And then this YouTube thing tremendously has helped me to pay off my credit card debt. And now, you know, now I'm going back into debt because I'm moving. Great. All right. So, excuse me. So, there you have it. Oh my god, look at it. Already we got an idiot. Fort isn't taking the whole thing, blah, blah, blah. Shut up. You know what? I didn't say I won EVO. I said I was the highest placing American. Enjoy your lifetime ban, idiot. Okay, so that's it for my EVO 2005 story. I'm now going to take a short break, probably less than 5 minutes, and we're going to come back and have about 15 to 20 minutes of callers on Skype. The Skype name is Darkside Phil, but it's not open yet, so don't bother sending it yet. I'll tell you when I am accepting it when I come back. Again, if you're watching on Twitch, stick around. If you're watching this on YouTube, just skip to the next portion. I'll put a timestamp in the description so you can do that, okay? Thanks, everyone, and I'll be right back. Oops. That was the wrong thing. I clicked the wrong thing. Hold on, everybody. Epic fail. Alright, so everyone, we're going to start the Skype call-ins. My name is Darkside Phil on Skype. Am I unmuted, by the way? Yes, I am. Okay. We're going to start the live call-ins. My name is Darkside Phil with a Y on Skype. Feel free to give me a call, and we'll get a few calls in for the end of the show. Alright, here we go. Actually, it's funny. I'm not even using this mic, but it's attached to the headset that I use, so. Alright, so let me wait for the first calls to roll in here. Alright, let's try this one. Hello? Hello? Well, that didn't work. The guy hung up. Well, I guess that's not going to work. Huh. Alright, let's try this one. Hello?
Guess who it is?
Hello, hello. Who am I speaking with? Hello? Uh-oh. We're having problems here tonight. Hello, are you there?
I'm here.
Oh, who's this I'm speaking with?
Oh, it's me again. Remember me?
Not particularly, no. Sorry.
It was 4 weeks ago.
Oh, okay. So what's going on, man? What's your name? I can't see it. The problem is I cannot see. I'm so far away from my monitor, I cannot even see your name. What's your name?
You should know. It was 4 weeks ago I talked to you.
Yeah, but I can't see the screen to read your name.
Oh, it's Matthew, remember?
Matthew, what's up, man? How's it going on?
Alright, so MKX or whatever was announced. So
Yes.
I've really been excited about the roster. It's going to be exciting when E3 comes up and there's going to be a lot of roster reveals. So what is your speculation on the roster? Is there going to be a guest character? Is there going to be whatever? I'm seeing right now, like, it's not going to be a probability. Like, last time we had Freddy Krueger, it's not a probability that Jason from Friday the 13th will be in there, but I just want to hear, like, what crazy characters do you think will be in there in this new Mortal Kombat?
I guess the question really is, as I said previously on the show, are they going to go with that idea that they've rebooted the MK universe and it's the same plot lines from, say, the previous MK games, but now with a spin? So is it going to be MK 4, 5, and 6 with the casts of those games? You know what I mean? With maybe some changes because of the stuff that happened, the change of the continuity of the timeline. I think a lot of people would like that because a lot of people, those were the games that they started playing MK during. But I don't know if that's what they're going to do or if they're going to really change it up and say, well, because, you know, such and such died and such lived, it completely screwed everything up, and now there's new characters and stuff in the game, too. I would expect to see maybe a guest character or two. I think that Ed Boon loves to do that kind of stuff. I mean, he did it with MK9, he did it with Injustice, so I get the feeling you're going to probably see some kind of a guest character. I don't know who the hell it would be at this point, but I'm thinking that's what they're probably going to do. Now, I could be completely wrong, and they just do something different and off the wall, but that's my prediction anyway.
So, I actually did recently play the Mortal Kombat Complete Edition for PS3, and I also played the Arcade Edition for PS3 as well. And really, playing with a controller is impossible. Like, I need a joystick, literally. Like, I tried to get one of those holy sticks at, like, GameStop or stuff, but literally I tried at Best Buy, and they literally just told me, you're gonna have to wait. And I'm like, what? I mean, literally, I now have to go on Amazon and now look up a simple joystick, and then I have to buy it. It's hard playing with a joypad. Like,
it's funny because, like I said, with me growing up in arcades, joystick was like, it was a no-brainer. You wouldn't even think of playing a fighting game on anything but a joystick. But I think what happened was when Street Fighter 4 came out and people realized, oh, they dumbed down the inputs. It's a lot easier to do any of the moves in Street Fighter because it's all shortcuts now instead of actually doing the real motions. And that's a whole generation of new gamers were introduced to fighters who could now play them on pads. But yeah, there are still games, for example, anything that's like a double tap or a triple tap, different directions for Mortal Kombat can actually be pretty hard to do on a pad. So I did actually, you know, I understand what you're saying. I did play Mortal Kombat 9, and subsequently I did play Injustice as well on a joystick. So.
Okay,
but
so
yeah.
last question about this. If you don't know,
Okay.
Ultra Street Fighter 4 actually is getting a joystick, but here's the weird thing. It's going to be compatible with the PS4, and unfortunately the Xbox version is not going to be compatible with the Xbox One. It's weird.
Okay.
It is weird. I saw this article online yesterday. Like, I looked and I was like, what? Why is this weird? I mean, you have one joystick that's compatible with the PS3 and PS4, but the other joystick that's not compatible with the Xbox One. I mean, isn't that odd?
It all depends on the copy protection software that they put, or not the copy protection, excuse me, the input protection. Like, what peripherals can you and can't you attach to your console? And it's funny because, yeah, Xbox One, I actually spoke with the people, Mad Cats. I spoke with the person who's their PR rep, Mark Man. And I said to him, you know, why is it that you guys are the only ones who are making a joystick that's going to work on Xbox One? And he basically said to me, because we have an exclusive agreement with Microsoft, they gave us the way to develop a joystick that'll work with the Xbox One. So it's not that they couldn't have something work with it. It's that Microsoft literally is not allowing people to make peripherals for the Xbox One right now, probably because they want people to buy their approved ones, and they probably get a cut of the profit or whatever it is. I fully believe that in a few years' time, you'll have plenty of adapters and anything will work with anything, but right now, yeah, it seems like Microsoft went the more proprietary route to try to make an extra buck.
You did have the Chronos Max, remember?
Yep, and it worked. I mean, that's the thing. That bypasses the copy protect, or not, I keep saying copy protection, the input device protection. So that's an option for anyone out there who's looking to have a joystick that works on multiple consoles, including PS4 and Xbox One. The Cronus Max adapter now bypasses all that bullshit. So, but it is a little pricey. It's on the pricey side, you know, for what it is, just a little adapter. But hey, if you will have a joystick and you want to use it on any console, I recommend getting it. It worked really well for me.
Anyway, thanks, Phil.
Thanks a lot for being on the stream tonight.
You're welcome.
Talk to you later. You know what I'm going to do, guys? I'm so dumb. Here, I'm like, I can't see your name. It's so small. I just got glasses this week. Why aren't I wearing them? I'm going to go get them. I'm an idiot. I have glasses and I'm not using them. Duh. Why the hell did I buy glasses and not put them on so I can see the freaking computer screen? Oh my god, I could see everyone's name. I can't believe it. Okay, hold on. Alright, so I gotta close all of these, because these are all the old callers, and then when a new one pops up, I will accept it. Hold on, I close all these. Close, 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 and close. Alright. Oh, here's the first one that popped up. I think his name is Dave. Oh, what the hell? It disappeared. No, here it is. Let me try this. Hello.
Hey, Phil.
Hey, what's going on? Who am I speaking with?
It's Damon from California.
Damon from California. How are you tonight?
I'm great. Nice glasses.
How do I look at my glasses?
Nice
yeah, I was just gonna
glasses,
say. Oh my god. So, so what do you want to talk about tonight?
I have a quick question. Back in the PS1 days, did you ever play any other of the classic games besides fighting games like Crash Bandicoot or anything?
Yes, the PS1 era was the era that I stopped. Well, I'd say PS1/Dreamcast era was the era that I stopped playing console games. So I did. I played pretty much all of the iconic PS1 games, including like Crash Bandicoot, Resident Evil, Metal Gear Solid. You know, the ones that were synonymous. Twisted Metal was a huge one. Twisted Metal, you know, that were synonymous with that console. And then it was around that time when I got the Dreamcast, and then the Dreamcast was like the definitive console for fighting games, and that was it. I just became fighting games 100% after that. Stopped playing PS1, missed the entire GameCube, missed, you know, almost all of the PS2 era until finally, you know, in 2007, 2008, I got back into it. So,
will we ever see in the future if you would play such PS1 games again?
That's an interesting question. I mean, there's always a chance. I mean, for me, the challenge would be, how do I do it? Now that I've adapted a direct capture setup, and being that the PS1, number one, is a very old console, it probably would be hard to find a working PS1 and working versions of games that would still be able to reliably run. How would I rip the video from it to be able to do direct capture? Now, there's always the possibility of emulation. I mean, PS3, for ages, you've been able to buy PS1 games off of PSN and play them emulated on your PS3 if you can put up with a little bit of lag, because they do all have a little bit of lag in the inputs. And in that regard, yeah, I mean, there's a strong chance. In fact, I can tell you right now, definitively, there is one game on PS1 that people are going to see me play, if not this year, in the near future. It's one that I've wanted to play for a long time, and I'm not going to spoil whatsoever what it's going to be, nor give you a hint. So there.
All right. Thanks for the call, Bill.
All right, yeah, thanks for calling in. Have a good night.
All right, you too.
All right, very good. I'm going to clear the board, and we're going to take another caller. All right, let's see who pops up here. Clear the screen. All right, screen's clear. Got time for like one or two more callers. What the heck? Nothing's popping up now. I'm waiting. What is going on here? How is nothing? I just had like 50 on my screen. I swear to God, Skype does not work. I swear to God. All right, you know what? Here we go. This one I know will probably work. Hello.
Hi. I got through finally.
I love your profile picture. It's cute.
Oh, come on. It's adorable.
It's very cute. So how's packing going? For those who don't know, this is my girlfriend, Leanna.
Oh, Jesus. Packing sucks.
Yeah.
Packing absolutely sucks.
I know. I haven't even started yet. I'm not going to start till next week during E3 week when I'm probably going to be a little lighter on gameplay anyway. So.
I packed like 98% of the soap supplies today, which has been incredibly boring, and I've filled up so far 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 small boxes, and I still need like 2, 3 more.
Oh yeah.
So I might have actually gone a little bit overboard with the hobby. Might have. But these are small boxes.
I'm getting word the stream crashed.
Oh boy.
So it looks like no one can hear or see us right now.
Oh, sweet. We can do video calls now. We can start sending lewd pictures to each other. It'll be great.
You know what's funny though? So the stream supposedly crashed, but I don't think I'm starting to think that the issue is Twitch and not my internet, because we're on Skype and there's no problem. So yeah, how is it if my internet didn't work, how could Skype work right now? It doesn't make any sense.
See, I know nothing about Twitch TV because when I did live streaming, it was the days of Justin TV, and Justin TV actually worked. It was a novel concept, especially in this day and age, but I don't know, I never had problems with it. Of course, then again, my quality was that of a tin can and a string, but it actually worked. Now it seems any site that involves videos doesn't work. It's this thing called working just didn't appeal to them in the mass market.
Well, honey, do you have anything to talk about tonight?
I hate moving. I really, really hate moving. But
wow.
I am excited for this upcoming move because not only will I terrorize you every minute of every day, I will also frequently interrupt your videos.
No, you will not. How dare you?
Yes, I will. I will bust in.
I will lock the door. I will weld the door. I'll have a welder's torch. So
I'm gonna get some maracas and I'm gonna bust in every time you do like a webcam stream, like Hate Live. I'm gonna bust in with some maracas. I'm gonna move everything 1 inch to the left in your office over a period of months. Once a week, move everything 1 inch. I will do all sorts of things, and then we can get married and have our 2.5 children, Oswald, Herman, and Susie.
How dare you? Alright, I'm gonna totally just shut down the stream and try to start it up again because it crashed completely now. This is terrible, man. I can't wait to get the hell out of here.
What great internet and what a great website.
I just can't take it anymore. Alright, honey, well, I'm gonna let you go and I'm gonna try to get the stream working again.
Okay, then.
Alright, I'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye. That sucked. The whole stream is dead. Only people on YouTube are seeing this right now. I'm going to try to restart the stream and get 1 to 2 more callers because the whole thing crashed. Why people would continuously still be calling in now when they know that the stream is crashed, I have no idea, but they are. I have no idea why people would be attempting to call in when they know the stream is not working, but they are. Here, there you have it. Alright, so the stream is coming back, it looks like. It looks like I've restarted the stream, and it doesn't look like we're dropping any frames of animation. So I will probably be accepting another phone call in a minute here. I'm just waiting for it to reload so everyone can actually see it. Okay, the stream is back. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. All right, let's. I'll take 1 to 2 more callers since it crashed. I'll take 1 to 2 more callers to end the show. So let's see who pops up now. All right, let's try this one right here. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Who is this?
This is Kyle from California.
What's going on, Kyle from California? How are you tonight?
I'm doing good, Phil. How are you?
I'm doing good as long as the stream doesn't freaking, you know, continuously crash again.
Yeah, I saw that. I went on my phone and then I went on the computer and it just wasn't working.
Yeah, I don't know if it's... I really have no idea if it's Twitch that's been doing it or if it's my internet or both. It's weird because I was talking to Leanna and we were talking fine. The Skype call never had an issue. So how is it that I can't use Twitch, but I'm able to do the Skype call perfectly fine? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's clearly Twitch's problem. I mean, it's just ridiculous, you know?
All right, so, Kyle, what do you have to talk about tonight? Any questions? Anything in particular you want to bring up?
I just have, you know, 2 quick questions, I'd say. The one is from a subscriber. His name is WWE Tombstone, I think, and he said, are you a Godzilla fan? And if you are a Godzilla fan, do you have any specifically favorite Godzilla movies?
I am a Godzilla fan. I grew up when I was a little kid in particular. I loved them, and it was funny because back then you got everything from Blockbuster Video. It was the big rental chain. And I remember my local Blockbuster only had 3 Godzilla movies. And so over the years that we went there, I probably rented them like 5 times each, you know, because I loved them. And then later on, eventually I was able to get access to more of them. But out of all the ones that I've seen, as an adult, I would probably say my favorite one was Final Wars, because that was kind of like the fan service, the ultimate fan service for everyone. It had every monster ever in it. It was really fast-paced battles. It was really intelligently done. It had respect for the characters. And, you know, but really, if you're talking more classic Godzilla movies, I would say any of the ones where it was Godzilla fighting King Ghidorah. Because they were like that kind of regular Ghidorah, then there was the one where he ripped the Ghidorah heads off, so Ghidorah came back with mecha heads, and then they had freaking, I think it was Space Ghidorah, and then Space Godzilla. Oh, you know, it got all overblown. But I really did like those. Those were like the more iconic classic fights that I liked better. Some people always, I liked Mothra or all that. I don't know. Mothra for me was always like a girly thing. I don't know. My mom loved Mothra. You know, that wasn't my cup of tea.
Yeah, I want to say that Final Wars is really cool because they kill off the '98 Godzilla instant.
Yes. Yes. Instant kill.
That's the best part. Yes.
That's the best. Godzilla's like, what the fuck is this? Blah! Boom! Explodes. Boom! It's just all overdone. I love it.
Okay. And also I'd say if there were any PS2 games that you were interested in playing, like any ones that you didn't play because you were into Street Fighter, were there any that you just got your attention but you just weren't able to play them and you just remember that you wish you could play them?
Really, quite honestly, if you're talking PS2, a lot of the ones that I've wanted to play, I really have gotten to. Like, for example, that Silent Hill series was one that I always had heard of. You know what I mean? Very highly regarded, highly acclaimed. And now I played all 3 of them, and I agree. I mean, I liked every single one of them in the trilogy, even though they had their you know, little things where they didn't excel at, and you know, some of the plot was kind of wonky or whatever here or there. The voice acting, I really enjoyed them. I thought they were creepy as hell. And very scary, more, you know, intellectually scary versus always having a jump scare or audio scare, which is what you get in all the survival horror games today. You know, I'm trying to think, like, the only PS2 era games that were probably, like, hugely iconic that I never really got around to. Resident Evil 2 I had, but I only played it for maybe a couple hours, and I just got too busy or bored to play it. So that one probably would be a good one. And then Resident Evil 3 I never played ever. Never saw it. I don't even know what the game looks like. I never saw it. So probably I would say those 2 would be ones that would be on my list. And incidentally, I have the codes, the download codes to get those on PSN because I bought the collector's edition of Resident Evil 6, a couple of years ago. So eventually I will get to those.
Okay, that's interesting. There's plenty of obscure PS2 games that are actually really good. You dived into a couple of them, like Ratchet and Clank and Jack and Daxter. I was just saying, like, if there was one series or something like that you'd be interested in going back.
Well, you see, it's good that they're doing all these HD collections because, for example, Kingdom Hearts was one that I had completely missed out on, knew nothing about, and now that I've played it, the HD remake, I actually very much enjoyed Kingdom Hearts 1, especially with all the Disney tie-ins and stuff. Me, growing up with Disney, I'm actually very much looking forward for that second
2.5.
collection.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, I cannot wait for that. I mean, I'm going to play part 2, and hopefully, it works out as well as part 1, and my PS3 doesn't die again, and I need to get another one and start from scratch. There you go.
Great. So yeah, that's just all my questions. Thanks for taking my call. It's been a pleasure talking with you, and yeah, have a good stream and a good night.
Thank you very much, sir, and you have a good night as well. See you later.
See you later.
All right, everybody on the stream, I say we do one more call because we had that little bit of downtime there. I would like to actually take one more call, and that'll call it a night for the stream. Let's see who we've got. I'm going to clear the board again because it's this old calls that are showing up. All right, let's try this. I've never seen this guy call before. Let me try this guy. Give him a chance. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Hey, Phil, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's going on? Who am I speaking with?
My name's Dan. Let me pause the stream real quick.
Cool, no problem.
All right, cool.
Dan, just to let you know, Dan, your mic is incredibly loud. Like, it sounds like you're, like, screaming into it. So I don't know if you have a volume adjuster or a mic input adjuster that maybe you could touch that. If not, it's fine, but I was just,
Let me fiddle with it. How about now?
Yeah. It's a little bit better, I think. A little bit.
I'll try.
Actually, now, yeah, it is better. Yeah.
Okay. So actually, I had a question involving your impending move. Sure. I know your girlfriend's going to be going with you. Does she? Do you plan on having her, or does she plan on helping you out with Darkside Phil Inc. Essentially? So one of the things I enjoyed about your videos the most was your Hateful Truth videos with the editing, kind of having clips of your gameplay throughout each of the reviews. Maybe she could, edit the videos for you while you're working and streaming and that kind of stuff. Have you ever considered that, or is that something in the plans? I was just kind of curious.
Quite honestly, the issue for me to doing that wasn't necessarily the fact that that I couldn't do it myself or that it was too time-consuming for me to do. The problem was that, number one, my PC always was a bitch when it came to editing. Like, I use a really crappy software. I'll openly admit it. It's called EVS Video Editor or something. It's terrible. It uses way too much memory, has memory holes and leaks, frequently crashes if you use more than just a couple video clips in it. So it's funny because most people don't know this, but my year-end videos, even though they could be, I don't know, as short as 2-3 minutes, could take me hours to make because this video editor is such a piece of crap. Now, ideally, what I should do is I should sit down and I should learn a better video. Like, I should learn Sony Vegas, or, what a lot of people who are professionally into video editing do is they go buy a Mac and they learn the Mac software because they say it's incredibly easy to learn. Of course, you have to spend $2,000 to $3,000 to get a Mac that can do it. For me, probably what I'm going to end up doing is later this year, I'm going to get a new PC that's going to be a beast. I'm going to try to load the thing up with tons of RAM, a really great processor, an internal capture card, a graphics card that can do dual monitor out like I want to do for PC gaming. And more than likely what I'm going to end up doing is trying to get a program that is better than AVS Video Editor, because I openly admit at this point, like, it's amateur night when it comes to me and video editing. And it's not really that I don't want to learn, it's that I just haven't had the means to do it.
Right. Or
when you know what I mean? Like, why would I spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars to get Sony Vegas when my computer can barely edit videos as it is?
Yeah.
So, I'm considering doing it. I'm considering making an upgrade, but I wouldn't. If you're asking me, is Leanna going to help me with video editing? No. I mean, she uses the same piece of crap that I do when she needs to video edit, so she doesn't know any. It would basically be like a learning experience for both of us, where we both have to sit down and try to figure out how to use whatever the hell it is. What I would say is, what'll be a tremendous help is just the fact that, you have someone else there. If I ever wanted to say, how does this shot look? Or, is this a good filming location? you know, any ideas of series that we can do and things that we could do together, or things that she could help me with. I've always been a one-man band. You know what I mean? Like, I've always been the cameraman. I'm the guy in front of the camera, behind the camera. I do, from start to finish, every piece of content that I've put out besides Project 7, I've been the guy creatively in control of it, and now I'll have the ability to have, number one, an outside perspective of someone immediately there to give me feedback about it, but number two, someone who can help me set up if I need to. Can you help me with this shot? Can you help me set this up, this scene or this, or whatever? Like I said, I've got ideas for series that I want to do, that having someone else there is a tremendous help versus me just doing it myself. Now, Leanna has expressed an incredibly strong interest to get a job once we go out to Washington in that area, because obviously, you know, I'm going to be juggling 2 mortgages, and, you know, until I can either rent this place out in Connecticut or sell it, that's a lot of money that's coming out of my pocket every month, and I cannot, I'll be honest with everyone, I can't afford to do it for more than a little bit until I start, you know, pissing away my savings, which is the last thing I want to do. So at that point, I think what she's going to do, the game plan when we get out there, I get set up and I get my stuff working right away, just basically the same way that I do today. She starts looking for a job and hopefully gets a job relatively quickly, so she starts making some side income there. During the course of the year, I buy that better PC that I've always been wanting. I, you know, maybe get Sony Vegas and put it in there. I learn it, and then maybe, you know, down the road, and then we could talk about, gee, can she help me out with stuff? But for now, the immediate plan is basically get settled into me being able to work daily like I do now, and her looking to, you know, get a job out in Washington.
Okay, well, that's good. That's good to know. I was just kind of curious because I know that, you know, obviously with the move, you had to cut some stuff out and make videos a little bit quicker, or, you know, eventually you have to start moving stuff. So I just kind of curious what it was going to be like when you get there. So
and I just want to say this to everyone: understand that when we get there, you know, it may be a big adjustment period because I'm going to be in my new office. I'm not going to know how the lighting works or anything like that there. I'm not going to know. Hopefully the internet will work good. That's what I'm really have my fingers double crossed for, that the internet works well out there, not like here. And I'm sure there's going to be things that are going to go wrong. Every time you have a move, something breaks. I fully expect something's going to break, so I'm going to have to get new equipment. There's going to be adjustments, but I'm going to do my best to get my stuff up and running as soon as possible. At the very least, like I told you guys in this very video, I'm going to actually be live streaming and doing vlogs and stuff to keep you guys in the know. So even if there's no new gameplay, at least you know what's going on with me, and you have a perspective on when to expect that new gameplay to be coming. So
cool. Well, thanks a lot, man. I just wanted to wish you good luck on your move, and I'll be following you and wishing you well.
Very good. Thank you very much for the call. Have a good night, sir.
You too.
All right, everyone. So we went into overtime here a little bit because of the problems I had with my internet. I think that's going to be it for this episode of Hate Live. I'm going to close Skype here so we don't get any more calls popping up and annoying anybody. And now I can take off my 5,000 pieces of head equipment. Jeesh. I'm so not used to that. You know what I mean? Glasses and the headphones. Jesus. But thank you for attending. Whether it was... Oh, great. Now I got specks on my glass. I have to clean them. Whether it was on Twitch TV. Thanks for being patient with the problems with my internet. Whether it was on YouTube. I wholeheartedly thank you for being here and watching Hate Live. There will be another Hate Live next week. And we're going to see what exactly it's about. Right now, I don't have any ideas yet. But we may continue on with EVO stories. If I talk about EVO 2006, it'll be out of control because that was the zany party EVO for me. And, or maybe it'll be something else. But anyway, we will have another edition of Hate Live next week. I hope to see you then. So, for Hate Live, I'm Darkside Phil saying peace out. See you guys later. Hope to see you for gameplay this week. And Washington Ho. I cannot wait to get out there. And the sooner the better. And I'll let you guys know the progress about that as it does develop. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.